Islam, 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 and welcome to Moor's Heritage and History School. This is your host, Anita L., along with my co-host, Ms. Raheem Alice L.
Peace and love, Anna E. Peace and love, Moors, family and nations, everybody.
Peace and love. And Rosmariah Bay.
Islam, peace and love to all.
Love.
And Islam. And we do not have Cujo today. He had some family matters to attend to, nothing serious, just some family coming in and going out of the area. So he's spending a little time with them because they're going to be departing shortly. So we don't have Cujo. It's just the three of us today. But that's all right.
He has some information to bring up too. I forwarded it, but about a Moor who had got murdered. I think it was last night or the night before, or something of that nature. But yeah, they said it wasn't by policemen this particular time. That was pretty interesting. Just wanted to add that on real early.
All right.
What was the nature of it? Does he just want us to give condolences to him?
No, actually, it's some dynamics that goes to it. I sent it to you all earlier, but basically it was another Moor that got murdered, and it was some Europeans involved, or whoever the suspect was. Pardon me, I had the details, but I don't remember them all. But that was an aspect that he wanted to bring up, that, you know, a Moor had got murdered, but it wasn't by police. But the significance of it was this brethren's appellation definitely had a bay on it. They noted that. I think that was the main emphasis among other things. But definitely, I just wanted to add that on.
So then we'll have to get some more information on it, but it sounds like it might be going towards like what they call hate crime, just because he has a bay on the end and all of the what's going on and the climate of things, that possibly that has something to do with with that situation. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, most certainly. I apologize. I wasn't all the way around with that. I was figuring he would go in on that a little bit, but, you know, he has situations, but it is something to look into. Was a situation out Tennessee. I say that for reference point, that they had been murdered. Yeah, I sent y'all the link. I'll try to pull it up in a minute.
All right.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Well, want to give our listeners a big shout-out, our Internet listeners a big shout-out. The chat room is open, and thank you very much for listening. Big shout-out to our family listening over in South Africa, Great Britain, Japan, the Netherlands, Mexico, Cuba, Venezuela, and two areas that we have yet to connect with. Thank you so much for listening. Big shout out to our callers. Thank you so much for calling in every week, filling up the lines before the show even starts. Thank you so much for that. Before we get started, we want to do our weekly public announcement regarding Moors that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage for income. These are Moors that are kidnapped by employees of the county who identify themselves as police. If you know the case law, Tallahassee versus Sapp are not there to protect people. They're there to protect corporation, which means they are corporate security guards with guns. These employees of these counties are kidnapping the people, specifically the Aboriginal Indigenous people, and they are holding them for untold sums of income. So we have our sister Abkare Bay, who was kidnapped through a joint venture between the Memphis and Shelby Corporation under the purview of Tennessee. If we have the county corporation name, we list it. If we don't have the county corporation name, then we just acknowledge the union state that these corporations are in purview of, because all union states are bound by the Constitution to protect all people from foreign and domestic invasion. So they are obligated to do something. We have Daoud Il under the purview of Arkansas, Amir Muslimin Il, and Kusu Rakush Bey under the purview of Missouri, Sar Patah Amin Ra Bey under the purview of Ohio, Jeremy Taylor Il, Terry Thorne Bay, Jamie Kell Brooks Bay, Joseph Kennedy Il, Kushamir Bunch Il, Emmanuel Billings Bay, Yasin Kali Kalamin Il, and Michael Curry Bay, all being held under the purview of North Carolina. Noble Crisco Il under the purview of New Jersey, Messiah Aziz Il and Crystal Il, both kidnapped through a joint venture between Mercer, Freehold, and Trenton Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. Eldridge Sharon Fisher Il, Marquis de Leon Il under the purview of Indiana, Solomon Il Bay and Mumi Abu Bay under the purview of Texas, William Barrett Il under the purview of Virginia, and let's see, wait a minute, Bomani Abidwil Il, kidnapped by the Chesapeake Corporation under the purview of Virginia, Che Ray Bay under the purview of West Virginia, Thomas Lee Bay under the purview of California, Victor Eduardo Avalle Juarez Il, kidnapped by Holland Corporation under the purview of Georgia. And let's see, Patricia Bay and her infant baby, as well as Malik Il Bay, all kidnapped by Atlantic Corporation under the purview of New Jersey. So those are our Moors who've been kidnapped and are being held income. If you have a family member or someone you know that you would like to be added to this weekly public announcement, please send their free national appellation along with the county corporation and the union state that is in purview to MHHS-Eyes Wide Open at gmail.com. All righty. I think that's all of the announcements I need to make.
Sure.
Today,
my fault. Before you go in, I just wanted to be clear on the reference. Just for a reference point, with the Moor who got murdered, they say his name was James Brown Bay or J.L. Bay. Not named, but that's what they are calling him. They hit him with an AKA. But for reference point, it was Clarksville, Tennessee, though we know that's the corporation. I just wanted to add that on to be clear that Cujo did have a peace of mind on that particular subject he wanted to put in the air. Not for nothing,
all
but
right.
that was the...
All right. All right. All right. So we'll have to get more information on that and, maybe do a more thorough investigation and come back with some additional information for the people. All right. Today's broadcast is entitled The Law. Do you know what it is? The supreme law of this land is the American Constitution, 1791. This is not a personal or emotional issue. It is the law drafted to protect the people from corporations and employees of corporations. Unfortunately, if you don't know the supreme law of the land, and you don't know your protection. This is the case with many Moors, conscious or unconscious, who are unconscious or unaware, I should say, of their heritage, and within it, their protection. You know, and it is from this where you get, what is going on now is it so emphasizes my people suffer for lack of knowledge. What I would like to do now is I would like to play two broadcasts or two audio clips. Before I play them, I'd like to let everyone know that the first audio clip is the brief interchange that went on between Sandra Bland and the modern European employee of Waller, the Waller Corporation under the purview of Texas. The interchange between Sandra and this modern European, it is disturbing. But what I need for everyone to try and do is, as disturbing as it may be, please listen to what the sister says. Please pay attention to what she is saying. All right?
Can I add this? Are you also, prior to so that people can really know right off the bat that they had doctored the video that they submitted in terms of what had happened, that they had kind of cut parts out?
Yes, and what I'm going to do for that's like 52 minutes of really, it's 52 minutes of video. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to publish that on Facebook. And what it would be good for everyone to do is to, use it as a visual analysis. An exercise in really paying attention to what is in front of you, because a lot of times things are happening in front of us, and we're not really aware of it because our minds are going in so many different directions. That clip is very good because it is a side-by-side view of two videos that was submitted regarding this whole Sandra Bland incident. The first video, I believe, is to the left, and it was what was initially, I think it's to the left or the right, but I will be letting everyone know. It was what was initially submitted, and then the second one is what was submitted after a lot of people had a lot of questions about the initial video that was submitted. But it's a side-by-side comparison that was done by the Los Angeles Times newspaper. So it would be a great exercise in observation, and it is so telling. So that's the second video. This, what I'm going to play now, it's the first clip is Sandra Bland. And it's something that I found in a discussion that someone was doing online, and some analyzing and things, and some comparisons, and all of it supports the undeniable fact that sister was murdered, all of it. But this exercise tonight is in how well do we know the law? How do we know what the supreme law of the land is? And when we are in a situation, are we competent to express that? Because, you know, as Moors, conscious or unconscious, the one thing that we do not know well is the supreme law of this land. But it is that supreme law that is our saving grace. And I can't say it enough. If we don't know that Constitution, we have no ammunition to repel corporate employees. So what I would...
Are you also going to... Yeah, I just want to ask. I'm hearing what you're saying. We don't know to invoke it, and in invoking it makes a difference if you know what to say exactly. Are you also going to play where some other Europeans got stopped and they invoked it? Because I think that's the crux of, you know, no disrespect or dishonor but as an example, that's the crux of the purpose, is that what happened to the Europeans when they invoked it. You're going to play that also tonight.
Yes.
All right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the brief interchange. I cut out, it's longer than 6 minutes, but what I cut out was 6 minutes, Sandra Bland. And then after that, I'm going to play an interchange that took place between some modern Europeans, and that's about 5 minutes and 58 seconds. So this is a lesson, and it is upsetting, but we have to look at the reality of the situation. In one case, there was no knowledge of the supreme law of this land, so there was nothing to repel or as Ross said, invoke. In the next instance, in the next situation, there was complete absorption, saturation of the supreme law of this land. And because of that, they were able to repel through invocation the police employees. So everybody pay attention. I'm hoping that this came out well, because I did it so, I had some challenges, but I was able to get it cut out and uploaded, and so I'm hoping it's a good audible and clear recording. So listen up, everyone.
Almost 3, and I haven't seen any trailer or any vehicles that we parked on the east side of the road.
Hello, ma'am. What does it take time to patrol? The reason for your stop is you failed to signal your lane change. You got your driver's license insurance with you? You okay?
I'm waiting on you. This is your job. I'm waiting on you. Whatever you want me to
Oh, you seem very irritated.
I am. I really am. I feel like it's sad for what I'm doing the ticket for.
You mind putting out your cigarette, please? Don't mind.
I'm in my car, but I have to put out my cigarette.
Well, you can step on out now.
I don't have to step out of my car.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
I refuse.
Get out of the car.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to touch me.
You are under arrest.
So you threatening to drag me out of my own car?
Get out of the car.
And then
I will light you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Get out of the car.
For a failure to signal. You're doing all of this for
Get over there.
Right, yeah.
Phone down. Right now. Put your phone down.
County 8.
Stop now. Stop it.
Stop resisting, ma'am.
If you would stop, then I would tell you. Come over here now.
You feeling good about yourself?
Stand right here.
You feeling good about yourself?
Stand right there.
I feel your signal. You feel real good
Turn
about
around.
yourself, don't you?
Turn around.
You feel good about yourself,
Turn around now.
What are you?
Put your hands
Why
behind
am
your
I
back and
being
turn around.
arrested?
Turn around.
Why can't you tell
I'm
me
giving you a lawful order. I will
why
tell
am I
you.
being arrested?
Turn
why
around.
Why you tell me that part?
I'm giving you a lawful order. Turn around.
Why will you not tell me
You are not
what's going
complying.
on? I'm not complying because you just pulled me out of my car.
Turn around.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is some bullshit.
Put your hands behind your back.
Because you know this is straight bullshit and you full of shit. Full of straight shit. That's all y'all is, some scary fucking cops. South Carolina got y'all bitch asses scared. That's all it is. Fucking scared of a female.
If you would have just listened.
I was trying to sign the fucking ticket. Whatever.
Stop moving.
Are you fucking serious?
Stop moving.
Oh, I can't wait till we go to court. Ooh, I can't wait. I cannot wait till we go to court. I can't wait. Ooh, I can't wait. You want me to sit down now?
No.
Or you gonna throw me to the floor? That'll make you feel better about yourself?
Knock it off.
No, that'll make you feel better about yourself? That'll make you feel real good, won't it? Pussy ass. Fucking pussy. For a failure signal, you doing all of this. And little ass Prairie View, Texas. My God, they must want.
You were getting a warning. Until now, you're going to jail.
No, I'm getting it for what?
You can come read.
What?
Come read right.
I'm getting a warning for what?
Stay right here.
For what? Well, you
Stay
just
right
pointed me over there.
I said stay right
Get
here.
your fucking mind right. Let me. Oh, I swear on my life, y'all some pussy. A pussy ass cop for a fucking signal. You gonna take me to jail? What a pussy. What a pussy. What a pussy. You got to break my fucking wrist.
Stop moving.
I'm standing still. You
Stay
keep
right
moving
here.
me, goddammit.
Stay right there.
Don't touch me. Fucking pussy for a traffic ticket. You know, bullshit.
Come read right over here. This right here says a warning. You started creating the problem.
You asked me what was wrong.
Do you have
I'm trying to
anything
tell
on
you.
your person that's
Do
illegal?
it feel like I got anything on me? This a fucking maxi
I'm
dress.
going to remove your glasses.
This a maxi dress.
Come on over here.
Have on me. Fucking asshole. For a fuck, you're about to break my wrist. Can you stop? You are about to fucking break my wrist.
Stop moving. Stop now. Stop it.
Stop resisting, man.
If you would stop, and I would tell you.
Oh, fucking traffic
Now
ticket.
stop.
You are such a pussy. You are such a pussy.
No, you
For a fucking
are.
traffic
You're
signal.
yanking around.
For a traffic signal.
You
For
are
a
yanking
fucking
around.
traffic signal.
When you pull away from me,
Right.
you're
This make
resisting
you feel
arrest.
real good. This make you feel real good, don't it? A female for a traffic signal.
I got it.
For a traffic signal. I know that makes you feel good, officer. I ain't seen it.
Take care of yourself.
I know it makes you feel real good. You're a real man now. You just slam me, knock my head in the ground. I got epilepsy, you motherfucker.
Good.
I hope I...
Good.
You should have thought about that before you start resisting.
All right, yeah, this is real good. Real good for a female, yeah. Y'all strong, ooh.
Go ahead.
Y'all real strong.
I want you to
Y'all
wait
real
right here.
strong. Thank you. For a traffic signal, slam me into the ground and everything.
Alrighty. Islam. Are you guys there?
Oh, for sure.
All right.
For sure. Absolutely.
Now, if that was the most disturbing to me because I know the sister got injured. But the flip side, I'm not condoning anything that happened to this sister. And I'm not saying that she is deserving of this type of behavior or treatment. I am just making the contrast. Her language was not done in what would be called an intelligent tone at all. She made no reference to law. She made no reference to the Constitution. You know, it was pure emotion.
Yep.
Pure emotion.
Now, you know some people are going to say, well, she was being mishandled. Well, we know that people have been mishandled all along. That's what this is all about. But anyway, go ahead.
And you're right. The people are, it's like our people, because we lack the necessary information to repel this type of activity, it's like we become magnets for it.
Yeah. Oh, well put.
And, you know, I know I've heard people say things like, well, you know, we've been mentally conditioned to behave this way for X amount of years, and that is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct because, we have got to stop. We've got to stop saying that, and we've got to take positive action. We've got to take positive action. We've got to do something. We can't keep on saying, well, you know, we're mentally conditioned. You know, one of the beauties about being one of the beauties about being in this particular time and space is that we are the catalyst for the future. And it is like our obligation to, because we know, I don't know anybody who I have spoken to who has asked them, you know, what woke you up? What woke you up? None of us really know why we woke up or what we woke up or what woke us up, but there's one thing we all say. We just had a feeling inside of us that something wasn't quite right. And it is that something that got that you know, had us going on a search. And it is because of that we find our heritage. It's because of that search that we find out exactly who we are. It is that search that clothes us in something other than, you know, well, I might as well just accept the fact I've been mentally conditioned and let's call it a day. It's that gives us the strength and the courage to, you know, change ourselves. And in changing ourselves, we end up helping our brothers and sisters all around the world because it's nothing more than energy. This is about movement of energy. And movement of energy can't move unless you first move it from within. You know, and like I said, everyone that I have been to, they all say the same thing. They don't know what woke them up. They don't know why they woke up. But it was something that they recognized just wasn't quite right. Just wasn't quite right. And that began their search. And lo and behold, their search brought them to their heritage, their illustrious heritage. So what I would like to do now is I would like to play the clip, this other clip. And this clip is modern Europeans who recognize the protection of the Constitution and use it to repel. But see, in repelling, they had to first embody it. So I would like everyone to pay attention to this. Alrighty, I just had it a minute ago. All right.
Just to let you know, you're being audio recorded. Am I free to go or am I being detained?
You're not being detained.
Okay, see you later.
Hey, hold on, come here. I want to talk to you.
So I am being detained.
Sure, you're being detained.
Okay, well, I have nothing to say to you.
Do you have some sort of ID?
You and I know very well that I'm not required to show you ID, all right?
Why not?
Well, that's the law here in Michigan.
Okay, put the phone down, please.
No, this here, sir, is for my safety, all right?
Okay.
I'm not going to do anything to resist you, but I know the law, I know my rights, I'm not legally required to show you my ID.
Okay, when I get called to investigate somebody walking up the street with 2 guns,
all right,
in plain view,
mm-hmm.
I know you're not in violation.
Both legal activities, right?
I know you're not in violation of any law.
Right.
How do I know that you don't have a mental injunctive order or something like
well,
that?
that's not your decision to make.
It's absolutely
it's your job to uphold the laws here of the state of Michigan.
Listen, man, what's your problem? I just need to see your ID real quick.
My problem is that I'm doing nothing illegal. All right. So you just stated that your reasonable cause for stopping me was that I have 2 sidearms.
Camera out of my face. Camera out of my face.
I'm not going to turn
the camera down.
No, I'm not going to stop video. This is for my safety.
Right, why don't you walk right in front of my car? There's a video.
That's fine. We'll go over there. I haven't done anything illegal. I'm not making any threatening motions. I'm just heading down to Redbox to get a DVD, exercising my constitutional rights.
Right in front of my car. Camera on right there.
Okay.
Put your camera down.
I'm not going to turn my camera off, sir.
Put your camera down.
It's my First Amendment right to videotape this interaction, and this is for my safety.
No, it says in the First Amendment that you're allowed to videotape.
Yes. Because how can I not express my opinion if I'm not allowed to gather information? You know the law just as well as I do, sir. You should know them better than I do. All right, I'm not making any threatening motions. I'm standing up for my rights. If uncooperative means that I'm standing up for my rights as a United States citizen, then very well. I simply said that I do not consent to any search.
You're all set.
Thank you, sir.
You don't want to give us your ID?
I don't.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have a nice night.
How are you?
Not bad.
Just so I can concentrate on what you're saying.
Yep.
I'm just going to...
Okay, I don't consent to any searches. I just want to make that clear.
I'm not going to search you.
I don't consent to any seizures either.
Okay. Just going to hold this so I can have a conversation with you.
Okay. What crime am I suspected of committing? And you just pointed that gun at me when it was loaded, just so you know. You twisted it, pointed it right at me. Before you wrecked the slide, you pointed it right at my legs.
People are calling about a guy walking around with a gun, so...
Okay. That's not illegal. Can I have my gun back and get moving along?
Need your ID, and then we'll get you on your way.
What crime do you suspect me of committing?
Like I said, people are starting to call about a guy carrying a gun.
Yep, that's a report of illegal activity. What crime do you suspect me of committing? In order to stop me, you have to suspect me of a crime. Can you get your supervisor here?
He is on the way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so like I said, people are concerned. It's a public safety issue. So I'm here to make sure everyone's all set. You make sure you're all set. Okay, so I just need to get your ID, and then we'll call it good.
No, sir.
You're not going to give me your ID.
Unless you are issuing me a summons as 17A, 15A
I need to make sure
requires, then...
Can you let me speak for a second?
Yep.
I need to make sure you're not a felon to carry this.
Do you suspect me of being a felon?
I don't know you. So
okay, if you don't suspect me of being a felon, then I would like my gun back and I would like to proceed on my way.
In order to carry a gun, you're not allowed to be a felon.
Correct, but unless you suspect me of being a felon, there's no reason for you to stop me.
There is a reason to stop me.
Unless you suspect me of a crime, as Terry v. Ohio, Delaware v. Prowse, requires you to have a suspicion of crime before you detain an individual. Brown v. Texas does not allow you to stop an individual and demand their ID.
Can I get your first name so I can speak to you on a person-to-person basis here?
No.
You're not going to give me your
Nope, I'm not
going to be that type of guy when I'm trying to have a conversation.
I'm sorry, sir, but for my own protection, I would rather not give you anything because any name I give you is going to go in the police report about this incident.
There's going to be no police report.
There's a police log generated for every call.
It's called a pedestrian report.
Yep. And unless you have a reasonable suspicion that I'm committing a crime, you can't detain me. I have to be free to leave. It has to be a consensual encounter, sir.
Here's the deal, sir. You are walking down Congress Street carrying a gun.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that illegal?
It's a cause for concern.
Do you suspect me of committing a crime?
Sir.
Do you suspect me of committing a crime, yes or no?
Sir, I need...
Suspenders. Keep my pants up. Yeah, it's the buckle for the suspenders.
This is common practice, dude. Okay?
Yep. It's illegal common practice.
It's not illegal. We see a guy walking down the street carrying a gun.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that the only reason why you stopped me?
Yes.
That I'm carrying a gun?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I want you to refer you to DeBerry v. U.S. DeBerry v. U.S. says that a firearm, where legally carried, cannot be the only cause for reasonable suspicion for a stop.
Yep.
Am I free to go?
You are.
Okay. Can I have my gun back?
it.
Thank you.
All right, that was the end of that one. And there's a lot of
what a difference from knowledge makes. Now, a lot of people may think that they're European. It's not. It's because they invoked the law with intelligence, as you said. It's imbued in them because the Constitution and the law of the land is for everybody of whatever rank of citizen they are, you know, and that's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, look, there's only one supreme issue, and that is to enforce the Constitution. What you just saw was them enforcing the Constitution. And, man, and you made such a great contrast of the difference between when we get stopped, and no disrespect to the sister, but that's what happens to us. We don't talk in an intelligent tone. We don't know the right thing to say because we don't have the knowledge. So what have we been saying? What did Prophet Noble Drew Ali say? He already said what had to be done.
We have to speak in an intelligent tone. And the other thing is, you know, we Asiatic people were very, very, very passionate. And everybody knows we're passionate. Look, the first thing most people are told when they come to this land is don't mess with those, they call them Black Americans, because they will cuss you out and want to fight you. And this is why a lot of places that you go to, they have these bulletproof, glasses between you and them, because this is what they're told. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I am saying is we are very passionate people. But you know what? Let me just say this. Sometimes we might hear that and we might think, oh, that's a bad thing. It really isn't. That is who we are as a people. Check the Moors back in the day, all right? Back in the day. Back in the, the 7, 8, 9, 10, 100s, all right? We were people, and we still are today. We will cut your head off, ask questions after. That's just the way we are. Chop your head off. Oh, that was one of ours? My bad. He should have spoke up. Because that's just how we are. But that's an old energy, and we got to move into the new energy. And the new energy is we know, hey, we know hands down that we know how to fight. We're the masters of that. There's no doubt about that. What we have to now do is we need to elevate ourselves, and we need to now use our mental energy to manifest exactly what we want. And that's going to be a step-by-step process, but we have to first begin to put information into our heads. And from my own experience, much of the information that is absolutely necessary for our people, you're not going to find it in any school. You're not going to find it in any institution, or I should say alleged school, because you're not in. There is these institutions. They are just corporate constructs with the word school on the front for the purpose of appearing legitimate, but they're only there to gather the income at the expense of the bodies that go in. So much of what our people need, you're only going to find it through independent study. And there are keys all around us. But I will say this. If you look at some of the writings of our ancestors, especially some of the writings in the congressional record, they spoke in such a high, intelligent tone. So when we contrast how we as the ancestors to return spoke compared to how we are speaking today, It is time for us to elevate ourselves back to that place and beyond. And I believe that this new energy that is coming in is exactly going to facilitate that by hook or crow, or one way or another. This energy is going. That's right. It's going. It's coming in. You cannot stop it. And the only thing that I see is that people are going to have to, and I absolutely believe it. I see it in the faces of the people as I walk down the street, as I go about my day, as the calls, the emails, the almost 200,000 listeners we have. Look, it's happening. It is so happening, and I am so excited, tired, but I am so excited at the same time to be here to experience our transformation. It's like the phoenix rising out of the flames, and I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to see what's coming up next. But with everything, we've got to go to the law because, look, and a lot of people think that Constitution was written by some modern Europeans. It was not. It was written by our ancestors. The Constitution comes from the Law of the Great Peace, which was written by the Iroquois Confederation, which is the Moors, Aboriginal, Indigenous, branded Indians, and that is in harmony with the universe. And so if you know Moorish science, if you know astrology, then you've got to know the earth. That's the universal component. You've got to know the physical component to make it happen once again, as we used to. So we got to get our studies on, not just of our history, our heritage, I should say. Our heritage and law, that's it. That is us. That when we embody that and embrace that information, nothing can stop us, because we'll be moving, evolving into the beings we already are. Islam.
Wow. Indeed, absolutely. I don't know. I mean, that contrast of what you played spoke volumes, I would say, first and foremost. That spoke volumes. I know Sandra Bland's expression was kind of raw and emotional. However, in certain aspects, I have to agree with the sister. I have to. Because what they did was a violation. One thing, before I knew any law, one of the first orientations that I got to law was this, and I'm not defending any emotion. But you remember this lesson too, that law is really common sense, all right? And when you're violated, you feel it. Now, you have to know how to channel that energy, which I think was the difference between the way she went about it and the way he went about it, as far as masterfully articulating his position in law and getting his firearm back, opposed to just going off the emotion of this is how I feel. Though it was real, because like you said, common sense, when you're violated, you know it. You can feel it. That's how you know that the law has been broken. You just know in your spirit it doesn't feel right, because that's natural law, right? But also constitutional law, he didn't have a probable cause to even take it there, whereas his instigation or agitation was based off of her smoking a cigarette, which was not probable cause to proceed in any other type of fashion because she refused to put it out. Their actions were not in harmony with peace and love. I have to agree with that. But it also was a demonstration, too, that these are Roman soldiers, you know. They're on a mission. And the intellect, the wisdom is really the only thing that's going to be able to save us, no matter who you are, you know, because that situation could have been reversed, you know. It could have been her with the gun, with the firearm, and had the wisdom to get it back. And it could have been a European, you know, who lashed out, and the same thing happened. So the contrast there was pretty interesting. That being said, you know, there's definitely a lot of abuse of power going on, but at the same time, I recognize at the same time it's a sort of war that's going on that's not really a perfect war. You know, it's not a perfect war. And I say that because we see this going on almost daily now. I mean, people have been dying and getting murdered every day for centuries now. It's just like we was talking earlier, the technology that's out, this is getting put out there. But it does show that it is a specific war going on, because after that particular sister passed on in the custody of kidnappers. Like that's definitely what happened. And
because they got emotional. They got emotional back.
Very fast. Very
they
fast.
They got emotional back with her with all the name calling. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
right.
Because you got to remember who you're dealing with. You're dealing with you know, you got to remember who you're actually dealing with. And I just want to say, and I don't want to cut you. I want you to continue. But the thing is that in law, see, the response, the difference, like you say, all right, I'm in agreement with you. We're all in agreement with how she felt and knew that something was wrong. Like you said, you know when you're violated. But when you think about it, these people are seeming to be law enforcers. So therefore you hold them to that.
True.
And you hold them to that. And so in holding them to that, in the lack of us holding them to that, we've opened the door, as Annie said, a magnet. We've opened the door for them to treat us uncivilized because we don't show any civilization factors, principles, or knowledge. Because
can I add
who
to
in
that?
the hell has the right to put their hands on you? Who in the heck has the right to do any of that? That's all violation. That's what the law keeps in place. So, you know, you got to remember who you're dealing with.
True indeed. But I also want to point out this, that if you look at the energy that was transmitted between both of them, both situations, honestly and in real fact, they was both holding court on the spot. They both held court on the spot. That's what was going on. All right? So Sandra Bland came to her judgment because she held court right on the spot. She determined what type of person she was dealing with, all of this based off of her experience. The other dude, he held court on the spot but presented hella facts, case laws, etc. You know, I'm not saying, this makes it right. I'm saying that in him holding court with the policy enforcer who was trying to strip his firearm, his evidence and position held weight. You know what I mean? But in those situations, you have to understand and understand that in that moment, court is going on. And, you know what I mean? You have to be wise in how you come to your judgment. Like, so she was right in calling them what they were in that aspect based off of how she felt. But that was like a rush to judgment. Because, like, when you show the contrast of displaying law and protecting your birthrights, etc., but don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say what the European Roman soldiers did to Sandra Bland was right. I don't agree that it was right in any fashion.
Are you saying that what she did was right? When we know that to speak of it,
I'm not saying anybody is right or wrong. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the energy of how you go about those things, those situations, can make a difference. That's what I'm emphasizing. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong, which is why I'm also saying, you know, I can't disagree with what she said, how she felt. You know, those were basically like her last public words from a private situation. I'm not saying she was wrong in that. I'm just saying that when you compare that to the other situation, I think that it's a certain energy that can be more productive. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Not that she was wrong, because what they did was foul. There's no denying that. But just in how to go about things. But, you know, that's just me. Again, I want to make clear, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I don't really agree with the situation because it was unconstitutional for them to put the sister under duress, you know, threat, coercion, for not putting out a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, that was wrong. And you know, in that aspect, yes, I have to agree with the sister because what they did was wrong, and I hope I don't sound like I'm contradicting myself. But as far as what they did and how they went about it, I absolutely agree 100% that the policy enforcers were wrong. They were in the wrong for not having probable cause to do that. But as far as Sandra Bland, I'm personally not saying that she was right or wrong. I'm just saying that the energy could be utilized in different ways. That's what I want to make very clear. So, yeah, it's no
coupled
denying.
With knowledge, and you have to agree that coupled with knowledge of what was supposed to be the interchange, the mask that they had on, that they were law enforcement, that she would have to meet that. We all would have to meet that with law. Absolutely, not emotion.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I would like to do? I want to give, because, you know, and I'm not trying to incite anyone to riot, and I'm not saying that I'm not into violence at all. But I do believe that people need to know that they are the power. And nobody has the right to overpower you. No one, especially not an employee of a county, all right? So I just want to give you a couple of case laws. We have Bregar versus U.S. Probable cause to arrest provides details on how to determine if a crime has been or is being committed. That was one of the points that the European Sun brought up. Carroll versus U.S. Probable cause to search provides details on the belief that seizable property exists in a particular place or on a particular person. All right? Draper versus U.S. Probable causes where known facts and circumstances of a reasonable, trustworthy nature are sufficient to justify a man of reasonable caution in the belief that a crime has been or is being committed. Reasonable man definition, common textbook definition, comes from this case. All right? Now for the biggie. Many people don't know this, but, you know, if y'all is rocking with ivybaypublications.com, as I know y'all are, y'all know a lot of these case laws is on the website. And we have dialogue quite frequently. We give you even more, unintended, M-O-O-R, more. So we have Elk versus U.S. Citizens may resist unlawful arrest to the point of taking and arresting officer's life if necessary. That's also found in Plummer versus State. This premise was upheld by the Supreme Court of the United States in the case John Bad Elk versus U.S. The court stated, quote, where the officer is killed in the course of the disorder which naturally accompanies an attempted arrest that is resisted, the law looks with very different eyes upon the transaction. When the officer had the right to make the arrest from what it does if the officer had no right. What may be murder in the first case might be nothing more than manslaughter in the other, or the facts might show that no offense had been committed. All right, now this is State versus Leach. An arrest made with a defective warrant or one issued without affidavit or one that fails to allege a crime. Remember, we always say that in order for a crime to be committed, there must be a flesh and blood injured party. One that fails to allege a crime is within jurisdiction, and one who is being arrested may resist arrest and break away if the arresting officer is killed by one who is so resisting. The killing will be no more than an involuntary manslaughter. Ruyan versus State and Miller versus State, when a person being without fault is in a place where he has a right to be, is violently assaulted, he may, without retreating, repel by force, and if in the reasonable exercise of his right of self-defense, his assailant is killed, he is justified. In State versus Robinson, an illegal arrest is an assault and battery. The person so attempted to be restrained of his liberty has the same right to use force in defending himself as he would in repelling any other assault and battery. And if you recall, a couple of shows back, we went through a whole slew of case laws regarding just what liberty is, because who knew? Liberty included just your basic right to exist, your basic living rights. Who knew? It encompasses all that and so much more. In State versus Mobley, each person has the right to resist an unlawful arrest. In such a case, the person attempting the arrest stands in the position of a wrongdoer and may be resisted by the use of force, as in self-defense. And then I'm just going to give this last one. There's so many more. Adams versus State. One may come to the aid of another being unlawfully arrested, just as he may were he where one is being assaulted, molested, raped, or kidnapped. Thus, it is not an offense to liberate one from the unlawful custody of an officer, even though he may have submitted to such custody without resistance. We as a people, we got to really get our study on. Now, all of what I just said is absolutely embodied in the American Constitution. I think it's either the Fourth or the Fifth Amendment. It says that there can be they cannot violate you. They can't search your body or your private or your personal space without probable cause. That's in the American Constitution. And the reason why these Europeans were so well versed in the supreme law of this land is because their parents, because I will tell you this right now, they do not, these modern Europeans, they don't go to school to learn the Constitution. They learn the Constitution in the boys' club, the girls' club, the 4-H club, the Lions club, in the church. Because I can tell you from my own experience, modern Europeans go to church for way different reasons
Asiatic people. They go to church.
Also, I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I also want to add on. They get passed down the rules of the unabridged dictionary. So if you look at good old unabridged dictionaries, they came with the Constitution embodied in them in the back, you know, and that's a standard. So, you know, they would learn that, like you said, in those institutions, at home, all of these different things. You know.
Also, you forgot the Girl Scouts. You said Boys Club, but the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Now, I was in the Girl Scouts, so I know what I'm talking about. And they don't really have that anymore as they did, at least not openly and publicly to most of the people learn the Constitution. For, like you said, 4-H clubs, American Legion clubs, all those things definitely teach or used to teach that.
And I can tell you now, see, in the modern Europeans, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, they taught the Constitution. But then our people, they were like, well, we want our own Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. So they gave them a portion of it. They never told them that they were studying the American Constitution. And that's so ironic because it's our ancestors that wrote it.
Yeah.
That's not admitted clearly. That's not what they teach in the public institutions. The truth about the making of the American National Constitution for the North American Republic. They don't teach that in their curriculum for school, so they're certainly not going to mention, you know, the things that happened and what led to the. In other words, they're not telling the truth about history. Period. Right. We keep searching for some new history or some new stuff, or in short, we look only from the times of so-called slavery, as you know, coming off the slave ship. So we create new things, like you and I were talking, and we forgot to mention because we just went through the winter solstice, Christmas, the Master Crossing, but then, you know, you had somebody who decided that they was going to create Kwanzaa for the quote-unquote black people without knowing the history of their history and the involvement of what really that is all about, which is natural law, universal law, you know, that we were acknowledging prior to the Europeans changing it to what they have it now to. We're not going to get into all of those details because we've already gone over that and it's on the site. But we don't have knowledge of what those origins come from. We don't have knowledge of it, so we feel we need to create something as if we ourselves was just established and created out of thin air as being those of melanated skin. So now we're finding out that no, we're the ancient ones who were always here even prior to the modern European. You know, now everything in the mind has to change. So, you know, we're talking about a massive mental slavery, coming out of a massive mental slavery. And that's why Prophet Noble Joel said what he said. He says, listen, I've come to take you out of this mental slavery and to teach you to be yourself. That's what it's all about. So if we can admit and know that, you know, we're not black people, and even us thinking we were black and just having to start something new, but we can go back to Egyptian time. We can at least go back that far, we think in our mind, and then realize that we're all the same people. Then we need to continue to study and go back and take our place amongst the affairs of men. You know, because what's happening here is nothing but the lower self activities of someone suppressing and stealing the birthrights of the natural people and of their own. Because this thing has gone so far that you just played the tape where you showed that, you know, even of their own, they're not anymore. The only difference is that they can't claim the aboriginal status to the land because no modern European is aboriginal to the land, period. They're not. But they are protected provided they follow the law themselves. But this modern European time, they think they're going to, you know, they're keeping that Christian crusade an intercultural Davina mindset alive, where they say that, you know, they'll kill those who are of the Aboriginal people, kill you if you don't go along with what they want and how they want it to be done, so that they can steal your stuff, your birthrights, not stuff, your birthrights, take over the land and act like you never were here, which is an impossibility to do, because we still multiply, we're still here, and we have a history that we can no longer deny is not ours. And all the divisions that we run up against as we're doing the studies, they're all based in pseudo-religious choices. Why? Because as soon as you say anything like about Christian and true Christianity and where it came from, the first thing people say is, oh, you're attacking my religion. And that is also the reason why they infiltrated the whole Moorish Divine International movement through the institutions called the MHHS-Eyes, and then put people in place to make it as if it's just a religious choice. You know, and as religion truly is, yes, if you know what religion truly is, law, order, and governing principles, universal principles, then yes. But as people know it to be, it's the religions. And then there's a lot of people who rebuke anything. If you say, you use the word divine, you use the word God, Allah, Elohim, you know, anything that seems to approach to them as your choice of religion, then, you know, they immediately, you know, scatter, because they don't want anything to do with religion because of what, or pseudo-religion is what it is, because of what they have been indoctrinated to. Yet this is why in Prophet Nawajar Ali's teachings, he says we honor all the prophets, because upon studying, you know, you will see that it's all connected. It's all coming from the one source. And although the sun hangs at high noon, they comprehend it not. So religious controversy will continue until we get to that truth.
Wow. Islam. It's a lot that came to mind based off of what you just said. But just looking at this, and I just want to pose this question. When you mentioned about Kwanzaa, right, and you brought this up previously too, do you think that disassociation from cosmological connections such as winter solstice, which is the true celebration, celestial vibration, do you think that was a prophecy and a true fact at the time it was said, when Nawajar Ali was mentioning that every nation had suffered slavery due to the fact they honor not the principles of their mothers and fathers, right? Because that was an ancient principle. And he went on to say, and strayed after the idol gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing of, right? So when you look at how we stray from our culture, and then say, okay, well, we're going to create Kwanzaa because this is a European celebration. That's kind of like waving culture to someone who's trying to adopt it. And I think that in that aspect, and I want you to add on, I want you both, if you will, but like in that particular aspect, that's also a part of why we mentally suffer, right? Because it's a divine and national aspect. When you talk about the planetary bodies and the cosmology, that's the divinity. That's a divine aspect. So, like, if we throw that part of it out, we threw away half of our ammunition, basically, like to be in alignment with our ancient principles. That's right. And I think that just being out of that could cause an effect of mental enslavement at the least, you know.
Yes. Yeah. Because when we really do have to go back to the mindset of our foremothers and forefathers, and this situation with this sister it demonstrates that, you know, we have to return. We have to return to our heritage. The universe and everything within it is really moving us in that direction. And like many, well, I'm not going to say many, because I believe that the amount of Moors that are waking up and moving in that direction has increased drastically. So, you know, there's probably a few that, you know, kicking and screaming. But, you know, what can we do? But, you know, when you talk about this Kwanzaa thing that's made up by an Asiatic sun, no less, all right? Kwanzaa made up by an Asiatic sun to replace or to do something that's supposed to be so-called African, so that we have something to counter the what the modern European is doing in terms of Christmas is rather than is really a bit it keeps us from growing, because what we should do, as we have done, you know, on this broadcast, with many of these so-called European so-called holidays, we have investigated exactly what is the significance of December 25th, and we find that, oh wow, it is an astrological amazement, and of course this astrological amazement brings energy, you know, which is why our ancestors celebrated things like the winter solstice, even through to the December 25th. These are energy days. And so we did great things to embrace that energy and take it within us, because we understood the astrological significance of it. So to create something that's not tied to nothing, I mean, some people would say, but, you know, Kwanzaa is Swahili for something. I mean, I know, you know, why did you have to go to Swahili when you could go just to investigate what was significant about that day? Same thing with, like, Easter. Same thing we learned about Halloween with Yosemite. We learned a lot of things just from investigating what is the astrological significance, because this is an astral plane. It's a physical plane, but it's manifested in the astral plane. So this is an astrological,
because all religions are based on the astronomical and astrological happenings. Islam. I just wanted to say to all of them, every last one of them, bring them forth, and you will find it. But you will not find it if you don't know the science of the universe, which is, you know, astrology, cosmology. If you don't know that, you will not be able to recognize it. And that is why they suppressed you knowing astrology, even though it's all in the Bibliothek Bible, even though it's all in all the writing, even though it's all coded in everything. But that is why I just wanted to say that all of the religions, every last one of them, is based on that source and origin. Islam.
Yeah, so you know, just to wrap this up a bit, to create something modern that really is not tied to anything but a language called Swahili, that's to me, that keeps us from attaching back to our heritage. And it's interesting because, you know, in the Willie Lynch writings, it says the way to break the cycle is to link back to your heritage. So Kwanzaa might sound good on the surface, but it's perpetuating our disconnect from our heritage. You know, it's and unfortunately, if we continue to disconnect from our heritage, things like you know what happened to the Sister Sandra Bland is going to continue. I don't believe, personally, because I'm just thinking in terms of the energy that I feel stirring about, I don't believe that is going to, these things are going to be happening for too much longer. Because, as we said in the beginning of this broadcast, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, and many others. These things are not new. They have been happening for a very long time. But as Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, in this electrifying age of information, these new gadgets that have been given back to us, so to speak, because they're very primitive, they've been given back to us, are being used to right some of the wrongs that have been going on for far too long. And those wrongs are being righted by people like Sandra Bland, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown. We have to keep in mind and know that nothing is by accident. Nobody comes here by accident. Nobody leaves by accident. Really. Everybody comes here to fulfill their destiny, and only they know it. So these three that we are aware of that passed form at the hands of these modern Europeans, could it not be that they made the ultimate sacrifice to wake us up? And so let us not allow that sacrifice to go unanswered and in vain. Islam?
Indeed. Islam. And if I can add, I've been looking at how do, I don't know, this is a question that I ask myself, but with what's going on, I ask, all right, we've had treaties, how do wars end? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to stop what's going on? And I just want to share this reference because to this is what provoked that particular thought. This is a reference. We know they decided not to charge the people who murdered the Sister Sandra Bland, right? That's what we can refer to her as. She was a Moor by blood, by birth, but that's what the public reference says, right? So they took her off among many other people, like you said. This is nothing new. And this is what correlated to me with this, right? This is an excerpt from cases on international law, principally selected from decisions of English and American courts, because this is international law. And an excerpt, from page 520 here, they basically go in on wars, and it says, Wheaton draws a distinction between two classes of war, saying a perfect war is where one whole nation is at war with another nation, and all the members of both nations are authorized to commit hostilities against all the members of the other nation. That would be a perfect war. It says, in every case and under every circumstance permitted by the general laws of war. And then it goes on to make the distinguishment that an imperfect war is limited as to places, persons, and things. All right? So when you look at it, like the specific attack that's going on Asiatics of North America, branded Negroes, coloreds, and blacks, if you look at it, it's like an imperfect war, because at the same time, even when Noble Drew Ali was here, he was saying, you know, Europeans are helping me, why not you? So it's not really a perfect war, it's an imperfect war that's going on. And the place in the, I don't know, we could go into the details of natural person, artificial persons, but the war on the natural person seems to be concentrated, you know, on our particular national family and Northwestern Mexico, North America. Like, it's almost an undeniable fact. So, with that being the case, I'm like, you know, where does that leave us standing when situations like, you know, Sandra Bland, they kidnap her and then she's murdered in their custody, alleged suicide and whatnot. I just wanted to also share this reference from the same source, page 968, Cases on International Law. It says, the resistance of a nation to a law of which it has agreed does not derogate from the authority of the law, because that resistance cannot perhaps be overcome. Such resistance merely makes the nation resistant a breaker of the law to which it has given its adherence, but leaves the law to the establishment of which the resisting nation was a party still subsistent. And that is, again, from out of Cases on International Law, principally selected from English and American courts. All right, so it's like when they violate the treaty, it doesn't make the treaty null and void. It just makes them a breaker of the law. You know what I mean? And this is what we need to understand as far as just that international standing. Because when you look at Article 11, you know, it says any more. When it makes that distinguishment of any more, you know, that's a broad statement. That's a real treaty. That's tangible, you know. And just the knowledge of self, of knowing what a Moor is, knowing who Moors are, knowing who yourself is, you know, can set up provisions for you, which have already been set up, but just to keep them going, you know. This is definitely something we need to know, understand with that. Because even though, you know, they calling her what they're calling her, in the national capacity, you know, there's protocols. There's definitely protocols, treaties that were set in place, Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I just wanted to add that on, and that was what I had to say in correlation with, you know, it mentioning if any Moor shall be killed or wounded, or, you know, any citizen of the United States, like, that's still a Moor. You know, that she's still a Moor. And all the other Moors branded Negro, black, and colored, you know. The whole thing is to understand that they were never really that. Can't be. It's something you can't be. So there's still treaty laws that apply. Constitution, etc. I just wanted to add that on. I yield the floor, fam. Islam.
All right.
I want to say something. What you and adding to what you're saying is that if what we just heard is other American citizens, the European that was enforcing and invoking the Constitution, got his gun returned, and then there was another one where, okay, go on your way. He says, if you're not detaining, if you don't have a warrant, etc., like that. What you're saying is that with the the treaty and with the law of the land Constitution, this should be proof to all of us that it protects all of us. So even if she or any of these other people who are not aware of their mothers and fathers and do not honor their mothers and fathers, even if they are thinking they are some other type of citizen, this is what makes the Constitution so eloquent and makes it so divine, because it is established in divine principles, because it protects them too. And that's what you're saying. It protects everyone, since we know that a lot of different are here and have come here for a better life, etc., like that. It protects everyone. And that's one of the things, too, when I see people writing in, emailing, they have just as much emotion when they say, well, I'm a Moor, and that's why you need to get, like that. No, it's about enforcing the law. If you're an honor of the fact that you're a Moor, then you would understand that you are to enforce the law, and that even, like I said, even these Europeans or any other citizens have the same right to that law to invoke it, which is why they are, in fact, invoking it. All right? So it goes for everyone. The whole issue is to enforce the law. And I think that, right, exactly, that's what you're saying, that even if she thought she was an American citizen of any sort, that's what the law of the land is for. Mm-hmm. And I got to find here, I looked up, well, this might be not too deep, but for those who know, I had been going through a lot of my collective paperwork, and if I can find it, I had looked up Moabite, and in it says the law. So you know that definition? You know that definition?
I'm glad you brought that up.
I remember that.
Yeah. So real. Now, pardon me, I don't have it off the top of my head, but
I'm gonna find it. Go ahead.
Got it. All right. Now, while you do that, let me show you how it correlates real quick. I was mentioning this briefly earlier with Anna E, but I wanted to bring this reference up too. And this correlates. I hope you find it. If not, I'm going to dig for it.
I'm going to find it because I had it.
All right.
Go ahead.
I yield the floor. But now, check this out, right? This is another reference from page 467, Cases on International Law, principally selected from English and American courts. All right. And it says here, it is certainly true. Now, this is the decision of, quote, Chief Justice Marshall, and they were talking about international treaties. He went into the fact that, yes, Article 6 does, in fact, bind treaties as the law, supreme law of the land. He went there. He said that for the record, right? And he goes on to say, it is certainly true that the execution of contract between nations is to be demanded from and in the general superintended by the executive of each nation. Now, before I go on, we know that executive is a corporate title, if you will, right? But what that correlates as far as the duty goes in the essence, as far as the Moorish nation is concerned, is the Beys, the enforcers and the executors. I mean, we all can enforce law, but that's what you got the Bey for, the bailiff, the sheriff, the Moabite. You know what I mean? Like that, when you pull that definition up, correlates also with the bailiff, the execution, the enforcement. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so now,
the bailiff.
The
one that can have a bailiff. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I'm hoping that you find it. But
I did.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if I should continue or you should read it, but I do want to say this. All right, so when you understand that what they call executive under the Moor structure is really a Bey, you know, Ali, etc., you know, this is what these positions are for, muftis, etc. These are the Moorish nation executives, if you will. All right, so it says so that, all right, I'm going to bring it back, but we got the clarification of executive, but I'm going to bring this back so it makes total sense. All right, so it says, it is certainly true that the execution of contract between nations is to be demanded from and in the general superintended by the executive of each nation, which of course is the Beys, Ils, Alis, all Moors, period, enforce the Constitution. Therefore, whatever the decision of this court relative to the rights of the parties litigating before it, the claim upon the nation, if unsatisfied, may be asserted. But where a treaty is the law of the land, and yet as such affects the rights of the parties litigating in court, the treaty binds those rights. All right, so again, looking at the Constitution, Article 6, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Morocco and United States, all of this correlates to being a part of the law of the land. It's a fact. That's a fact. So, again, you know, when you use that constitutional provision, Article 6, this is self-executing law as far as enforcing the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, you know, because it's a real treaty. And I say that in conjunction and in correlation with the fact that, you know, Article 11 mentions any more. And in the law of evidence, you can't prove that, you know, she's black, Negro colored. I mean, it might be an assumption on paper, but it's not something that can be proved in the law of evidence, you know. So,
yeah. Well, I'm going to read Moabite, but first I want to say one other thing that was mentioned earlier, and I think earlier in the evening I said something about, I think the guy talking mentioned something about unless they had a warrant, they can't search him, they can't seize him, and no, I don't consent to searches or seizures without a warrant. Now, truthfully, this is a quick lesson on what a warrant is. We don't know what a warrant is. They have created computer-generated, well, they just computer-generate their crap, but they never had a warrant because as a lesson, all we have to do is read Amendment 4. Amendment 4, and it tells you what a warrant should look like. Mm-hmm. It says the right. It tells you exactly what a warrant is, but since we've been allowing these people to say they possess warrants and act upon them and call them warrants, yeah, you know, they came here with a warrant. No, they did not. And since we've allowed it to happen, it kept happening for lack of knowledge. We do not get the importance of this lack of knowledge and how far it'll take us. We saw how far it'll take you. But Amendment 4 says search and arrest warrant. It's right there. It's about search and arrest warrants. The rights of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, their papers. That means you don't show them anything, not even papers. Mm-hmm. And their effects. That means everything that belongs to you, all your property, everything. The right of the people to be secure. Go ahead, what?
Yeah, and that's what that modern European demonstrated when that police employee was even trying to get his first name. He's like, no, because you're going to have you're not going to put that. Yeah, he said, I'm not giving you nothing because you're going to put in a report. And then the dude lied to him and said, there's not going to be a report. And he's like, look, all calls, because they said they was responding to a call. All calls must have a report.
Generated.
So, you know, exactly.
He was shocked. So he knew law.
Exactly. And he knew law because he studied law. He's not a law student, all right? Because if anybody has ever gone to any of these law schools, they don't teach law. They teach statutes and code.
Color of law.
Right. They're not teaching law.
Color of law. And you can look up in the dictionary what color of law is.
Exactly. Now, what those two young sons, those young European sons, was speaking about was constitutional law. They don't teach that in law school. I can tell you that for a fact.
Anybody who goes to law school should know that because they didn't read the Constitution first. See, I mean, what you're saying here, when you said that, you know, because he knows law, and then you're bringing out the fact, and it's not because he went to law school, because the law of the land is the Constitution. The law. Mm-hmm. It guides you through everything they can throw at you because they're throwing at you bull crap. as an example, back to Amendment 4. It tells you what a warrant is and what a warrant is not. So it says the right of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, their papers, and their effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Remember, he asked them, is there a probable cause for you to think that I'm even, a part of anything? But even, okay, let me just finish reading it. But upon probable cause, and it must be supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now, come on, people. If a policy enforcer or a highwayman stops you, hinders you, do you think that they have, look, they're hindering you for, what did you say, making the wrong left or not putting on the left signal or for whatever reasons they do. There is no probable cause. It's just they wish to. So do you think they got an oath and an affirmation? Do you think they have on them a warrant that particularly describes the place that they want to search in your car, in your automobile? No, they don't have any of that. And they have a list of what it is, who it is they're looking for, and the things that they want to seize upon this search. Because you have a search warrant and then you have an arrest warrant. They are two different things. However, both of them, either of them, must be accompanied by, and don't slip past this. It says by an oath or affirmation, right? Now, on the other one it says with a raised seal. What are they talking about? The oath of affirmation. It means that first, there must be an injured party. Something must have happened, and that they did an investigation. And that's where you go to Amendment 6, and it tells you a little more about that. And they do an investigation, and they find that a reasonable, probable cause. No one ever does any investigation. You cannot be suddenly arrested with a warrant and you don't have no idea of what it's about because you were supposed to be investigated first and know what it was about. That's what it says in the Constitution. See, and so this European who got stopped, he knew the law because he knew the Constitution, not like you said, right? Not because he went to the law school, because the law class is both online and offline. People who do that, they're just succumbing to some color of law, and therefore they are abandoning the true law of the land, of which their ancestors have put in place to protect their asses, and then they want to abandon that to go do this other crap. And back to what we say, everybody's been enslaved because because they did not honor their mothers and fathers. This is it right here. Your mothers and fathers took care of you. And as far as the treaty goes, which we have mentioned, which is a precursor to even having the law of the land, don't believe the hype that it's only lasts for 50 years. Do the study on that, and you would understand that it is up for the review. It is up for any changes that might be applied for. But since that has not happened, it remains perpetual. And that treaty is not between some man, the Sultan, as I've heard some of these crazy people who don't study say and tell all of the people that may be listening or that will listen to this that, oh, yeah, well, the treaty was just between the Sultan and that was personal. No, it says any more, right, son? We went over this, which makes it in line with nature's law. It's not only that, it's for posterity anymore. It didn't say whether it was a Washita Moor, a Wichita Moor, a Lenape Moor, whatever the other names are. It said any more, which means it was taking care of all posterity. And we will run to everything but this. And the prophet, Noble Gerard said, enforce the Constitution for the United States of America, because this Constitution was written for them to follow, and they are the ones who are actually the lawbreakers. And here we are going to law school to learn their shit so that we can violate ourselves and our posterity go along with that. So I just wanted to give that example. And one other thing that he invoked, one of my favorites, that I have it on the site, where he says, well, first of all, Delaware versus Prose, where you can't even stop me unless there is.
That's a powerful case right there.
Hey, that was hot right there. He said, no. And then what did you hear him say? Well, yeah, that's the law. I mean, you ought to know the law. They call themselves law enforcers. Problem is we don't know the law. So therefore, whatever they say, we go along with. This is absolute trickery and deceit, and taking advantage of those. Like there's a maxim that Dave always says, and I don't like it because I like it, but I don't like it because it's not an excuse, but it's a reality. He who would be fooled, let him, and that's what they've done to all of us. We're being fooled, but the only reason is because of lack of knowledge. So let me go to giving that definition of Moabite, because the reason this is important, you know it's Ruth the Moabite. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bibliothea. Ruth the Moabite. Not Moabitess, the Moabite. And it's Ruth, which my translation is root, means your root, because there's many books that are written, but the oldest nation in that one is the Moabite, because see, that indicated the fall of humanity. If you read the book of John, if you read a whole lot of other scriptures, not just that, you will see that the Bible, where Genesis begins, the physical manifestation. But when you look as above, so below, if you know, when you read the book of John, for instance, that there was as you've heard, a war in heaven, which is really mental, because man is mind, and that as above happens so below. And then that chapter 1 in the Circle 7 Holy Quran says, yep, we fell, and the ethers got denser and denser and denser, and here we are in this physical form in that respect. So aside from Genesis 1, which tells you exactly who you are the ones that was made in the image, created on the seventh day. The sixth day, which is Venus. All right, mother. Now, the Genesis 2 and on, they're talking about the descendants of Adam and Eve. We went through that before. But back to Ruth the Moabite, the oldest nation. So that Bible begins, is not the beginning, but it begins on the physical manifestation level in harmony with chapter 1 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, who tells you this is, and therefore, thereafter that, you have fallen, but you'll gain back your heritage and your lost and your birthright. It's right in there. It's right in there, in a conflict that can't be told in words. So Ruth the Moabite, definition: a member of the ancient, closely related to the Hebrews. So for all you who say Ivri and Hebrea, we're all the same. This is why we're saying we're all the same. So stop the division. And it says the treaty, the international treaty for nationals is anymore. So you want to. And it says after that, an officer of the law, as in a bailiff. You're the ones who hold the key to the bail, or the bailiwick, which means you can explain. So now, shortening this all up and coming right down to it, your nationality, nation, all right, determines what your political status is, all right, and your domicile, where you say you quote unquote live or domicile, that's what determines your civil status. And if you keep saying you live in these states that these modern Europeans have lived over top of your ancestral estate, then that determines your civil status, which means you don't have one, because anybody who's in the state has no civil liberties other than what is scribed. Scribed where? In the Constitution, regardless to your citizenship. So everything goes back to enforcing the Constitution, and that's what we showed you tonight.
Yes. Yes. Before we got like 12 minutes left to the live internet broadcast, but before, and what that means is at 11:30, the internet feed is going to end. So if you can, call 347-945-5899 and to get in and listen to the remaining hour. If you're not able to get in, wait until 12:30 and download the archive, and you will be able to listen to the last hour. But Roz, can you just repeat that case law that you just the last one? Somebody in the chat room is asking, is it Hawes or something another that says that they can't Hawes versus Rose that says you can't stop me? Is that what
Delaware
it is?
versus Prowse. That's Delaware versus
Delaware
Prowse.
versus Prowse. All right.
No, Delaware Prowse. P-R-O-U-S-E. It might be S-S-E. I don't have it in front of me. Delaware.
I think it's P-R-O-S-E. P-R-O-S-E. Yeah.
No. It's P-R-O-U. You know what? It's on the back of our nationality, our travel card. Okay, I got it right here.
Oh, cool. All right.
I think I put it on here. Wait a minute. Did I put it on here? I might not have. I meant to. I want to put it on here because it's so strong. Just give me a second. I'll find it. I'll find it real quick. But it's Crows, and I think it's P-R-O-U-S-S-E. Give me a second. I'm going to find it right now. But Annie, I just got it. I just got a text that someone listening cannot hear. They're thinking it might be their phone. Is there any way to check, or can someone else? Hold on a minute. Hold on. They may have just. Oh, they can hear it now. It was their phone. Never mind.
All right.
All right. I'm going to look for the Delaware versus Prowse.
While you're looking for that, I just want to let our listening audience know that there are, in fact, Moors who do travel on the land free of any license and registration, and there are Moors that travel on the land with their arms in full view. Sometimes some of them even walk down the street, all right?
Yep.
And they do not get harassed. Now, I'll tell you, my first reasoning as to why that is because they have absorbed the supreme law of the land like a sponge and have embodied it. So it surrounds them like a cloak and repels any negative energy.
Yes.
And then they know the supreme law of the land. They embodied it, so they don't get harassed. And I can tell you there has been maybe a few instances where they were at one time questioned lightly, but was checked through case law and the supreme law of the land, and repelled the police employee to the point where they were running away.
That's right. And you know what? You said it, that they're just out there trying to catch who they can that don't really know, that doesn't really know. And that's why the prophet said, and we say, and we know to be true, study, so you can know this, because that's the repelling. That's why he said there's but one issue, and that is to enforce it. That's why he said it, you know?
Yes.
And another thing. Yeah, R-U-S-E.
P-R-O-U-S-E. Yeah.
I thought it was P-R-O-U.
I was just about to say that. It is a yoke. Yep.
Can you read it?
Our Moors that are holding down the chat room is just on it.
Do you have it in front of you? I don't know why I cannot find it. Why didn't I don't. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's on the site, by the way. I got so much stuff on the site. Okay, on the site, on the driver's license fraud page.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I'm going to tell you where it is. Yes. Chock full, girl. It's on the site, on the driver's license fraud page. It says additional travel case laws. And when you open it up, there's there's like 4 additional travel case logs that I have. And I send this out to everybody who gets a national identification card and a road card. Whether they get the road or not, I send it to them. And it is P-R-O-U-S-E. And it says a person driving, quote, an automobile, a person, and they have that in quote, driving, and they have that in quote, an automobile cannot be stopped to see if he or she is licensed to drive unless there is reasonable suspicion that the person has engaged in a criminal conduct. Now, isn't that exactly what the European said? He said, do you suspect that I'm engaging in something? He did, because he knew. And then he spit this case law out himself because he knows it. Because it's a part of you. It becomes, when you study, you become what you know. So that's why he was able to do it, because he studied it.
Yep.
And that's still standing case law, too.
Oh, yeah, that was in 1979, by the way, but that case law didn't make this fact true. This fact is true because you have a right to travel and you can't be, molested like that. But it's just that what happened in 1979, somebody who they did stop, now y'all hear this clear, somebody who they did stop decided to sue their asses, and when they did so, they went and made this stare decisis, meaning they stared at it and decided. What did they stare at and decide? The res judicata, the actual liberties, the Constitution. They stared at it and said, yep, you're right. They just violated you by hindering you for no reason, and they're not supposed to do that. And so this case law came out of it as a result of it because someone went to sue them. So it's not that it's new. It's just that it enforced the Constitution, which is what we're all supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And because we're not suing them, as you've been saying for a minute now, because we're not suing them, they're continuing to violate us because we're not. But here's the deal. If these things are already done and already decided, it would behoove us. There'll be a day, I trust, that we won't have to necessarily sue them, because we will be the law again. We will be the law. Yes. We will walk and be the law. If everybody were to be the law, it would be over. And guess what? They know that. That's why they're harassing a lot of the Moors who are coming out half-baked, half-assed, and talking with emotion, because I'm a Moor, and because, where's your bond? No. They come to you as law enforcers, talk law, enforce the law, invoke that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
We have, go ahead.
No, I know we have limited time. I just wanted to place another emphasis on the impact of that particular case law mentioning the driver's license. That was interesting about that particular case law too. Well, I didn't want to cut you off. I know we got limited moments before.
Well, they quoted it. They quoted it because, remember, it says to see if they have a driver's license. Because the point is you can travel without that. So that's all they've been doing is stopping you to see if you have one and if it's valid and all that, because they set in place that whole driving commercial thing, making everybody think they had to have the driver's license in order to drive, in order to travel. So now that
but whether you did or you didn't, even if you didn't, they're still in violation of the constitutional protections of the
Exactly, because they can't stop you to see if you do. That's why they make up
the fruit or the poisonous fruit. There you go.
That's right. Poisonous tree.
All right. All righty. There was I was forwarded a few comments that were made in the chat room that I think had our chat room patrol people on
they were out tonight. The chat room patrol was out tonight. All right, peace and love.
So make sure y'all make sure we don't need to have no more Grammy speeches, man. Chill out in the chat room.
Might have to have some. We just call up Bakari. He'll give a good one for it.
Oh wow, yes. There was a few comments made. One regarding Sandra Bland, if she really knew who she was dealing with, she would have shut her mouth as to improve the chance of coming out of that experience alive, and not doesn't sound like one of our studying ones. Then there was another one that said those people wouldn't have cared what information she had or what she said. Then there was another one. People who are mentally conditioned do not announce that they are mentally conditioned and decide to stay mentally conditioned.
What does that mean? I'm not clear. What does that mean?
I have no idea. I don't know what that means, but they.
Well, if you're mentally conditioned, you can't even recognize it. So how could you announce it?
Finish the comment.
Okay, then but they need to wake up when you, and you is in all caps, decide they should. And then another one, that man in that recording was a white law school student.
I knew it.
He was supposed to understand how to deal with the police. A black law school student asking those questions would have been shot in his face. Then another one, the average person dealing with the police is not a law school student. And then there is no time in history where they have ever treated us in a civilized manner. The law school student held court on the police, and the police held court on the woman.
All right. Didn't we just say that you don't have to go to law? Didn't we just say you don't have to go to law school in order to know law? So that eliminates that. But
yeah, for sure.
How come y'all don't let these people? How come y'all don't let these people know that he was a white law student? How can you ever compare the two without being clear about the difference?
Okay, all right. So first of all, he's a European.
It's called misleading, and then one of our usual chat roomers asked him, if I may ask, what is your nationality? And the answer, hold on a minute, other than divine, universal, human becoming.
What the hell is that?
Don't have one. Don't have one other than divine, universal, human becoming.
Okay, hold on. I got to say something. Yes, you do have one. You get it from your mother, all right? And if you're a human being, you came out of your mother, and that's where your nationality is determined. So the next time someone asks you that needs to be your answer. You need to know that. You know, see, there's a disorder and disrespect to mother when you don't know what it is. Yes, we're all divine beings manifest in the flesh, but if you're admitting you're human, then you're a part of the humanity, and there's only one race coming from your mother, really. And they don't admit, they won't say that. But the other thing is this guy, look, he did not speak a law school. Yeah, go ahead and add to it, because just because he knows law, he just spit out, and we just showed you that he just spit out what was in the Constitution, which is only 7 articles and 10 Bill of Rights.
For sure. Well, first off, I just want to say from the beginning, I love the analysis of the people in the chat room. I can't totally disagree. I don't totally disagree. But what I'm saying is this. That's not the situation all the time, and I'm speaking from experience.
That's right.
And that's my word. You know what I mean? I could have been with any one of them. You know what I mean? And it doesn't happen that way. You know, it could. Things got ugly, but that situation, I don't know, it just never went to that extent because of how certain things were done and the certain energy transmitted. I can speak on, that's a fact. I'm just speaking for me. For those who don't understand that, I could understand that it's a certain frequency that you might not be able to rise above. I'm not saying it's not an imperfect war going on. I see that, you know. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to you as an individual, like out of all the millions of people, you know, who have been murdered by the police, reported, unreported, you know, which are just different branches of Christian societies, which are really type modern, but at any rate, when you go back a couple decades, or centuries or whatnot, and even modern day, these are just branches of Roman institutions or Christian institutions. It's nothing new. But what I'm saying is, we can't stop everything from happening. Anything could happen to me in that same situation. Anything could happen to you in that same situation. I'm just saying, in certain situations, I was there, and that did not happen. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't happen. So what I'm saying is energy has a lot to do with it. I don't know about that man's schooling, what school he went to. I'm just the evidence there, you know, the way it was handled, you know, whether that would have been a Moorish brother, you know, whether that would have been a European woman or daughter, however you want to see it, just the way it was reacted to is what I was getting at. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, you know, because a lot of people are on a certain frequency, you know, and I'm not saying that these Europeans are not on a mission, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is that if we're supposed to be the gods and, you know, the ills and, you know, the spirit of Allah manifested in flesh, and we could co-create, I'm just saying we can deflect certain situations, and that's a fact. I'm not saying that as a belief. I'm dead serious when I know that's true. Like, I know that's true, and you can vouch for that. Now, I'm not saying that bad things didn't happen, can't happen to me or whatever. I don't think that, but I'm just saying that I was there, and it was through certain wisdom that type of threat was de-escalated without capitulation, really. So that's all I'm saying. I respect their views. Yeah. I'm just saying that's mine. That's my view. Because my experience, it might not be the same as somebody else's. That's all I'm saying.
It was commented, the comments made by this individual is further evidence of why it is of the utmost importance of this broadcast as to the people knowing the supreme law of this land, Constitution of 1791, knowing who they are. That is absolutely correct.
Good, for sure.
Read that again. Say that again.
The response to the comments made says the comments is further evidence of why it is of the utmost importance of this broadcast as to the people knowing the supreme law of the land, Constitution of 1791, knowing who they are.
Right. And on that note, I also want to say, in essence, I didn't disagree with them, but in evidence I do, because when he said that was a white law student, they definitely were not white. They were Europeans. Like, that's the first mistake in law. Yeah. Right. So in the law of evidence, I have to disagree with that. But in essence of what they were trying to communicate, I understand it, but just in the law of evidence, it holds no weight.
But you know what else? Let me just interject. And with that, they're also implying that only Europeans, that they call white people, can know the law. And with that, they're also implying that only can you know the law if you go to law school, which means that, like the responder said, hey, listen, they don't know what they're talking about because the Constitution, the law was established by the one who's saying this, that is not conscious, by their mothers and fathers. of civilization and civilization principles, and they don't even know that. You see? So, that I just wanted to add that to what you to the analysis of their position and the ignorance of law that they possess.
For sure. But it's jurisprudence, really. It's jurisprudence and wisdom. See, that's the thing. We could study law, and it's definitely beneficial. It's healthy, mentally healthy to understand that the law is on your side, but also to understand jurisprudence, foreseeing, right wisdom. These aspects of law, too. Rules of engagement, hostility, peace, belligerency. You have to understand these different things in conjunction with the fact that we are in an imperfect war. I'm not declaring war. I'm just looking at the fact of what's going on. It's hard to say that it's not. You know what I mean? But in reality, the spirit of law, there's still the law of nations, even with conditions of war. There's different things that still stay paramount before anything. And that was something I just wanted to emphasize. Islam.
Yes. Islam. We're going to take some callers right now. I had something that I wanted to say, but I can't recall what it is off of the top of my head. Oh, yes. There was a comment made, and I'm trying to, one of the things that I think happens with some of our brothers and sisters is they play the intelligence of Moor. It's like, okay, we're so, we know we're mentally conditioned, but we're not so mentally conditioned that we can't come into common sense and make reasonable analysis and reasonable decisions. We have been put into we have been enslaved, but we are not the slaves, and that was never our history. So this mental conditioning, silent as it is, it doesn't mean that we lack the common sense and ability to be able to sit down and think our way out of situations that we find ourselves in. I think that to make that type of a presumption that to make the presumption that we are, it's like, okay, these modern Europeans, they know law. They didn't go to law school because what they were saying is not taught in law school. But the presumption is that they have the capacity to learn law, but we don't. It doesn't matter how they learned it. We've been talking about the Constitution for 3 years. And within that 3-year period, I have to say that there have been many Moors who never knew the supreme law of their land that 3 years later know it. And some are even in the process of knowing it. So, and I can tell you for a fact that there are Moors that have, once they have learned this supreme law of the land, have used it, myself included, and many of us on this broadcast, have used it to repel these police employees. And it's not about, okay, well, it was successful or it failed. It was just a lesson. Because you know what? If you never see, all of this is all about fear. And the greatest fear that we as a people have to overcome is that we can stand up to someone who doesn't quite look like us, and we can talk in an intelligent tone, and we can repel them. But you're never going to know that you have that type of strength and courage within you until you do it.
That's right.
Allowing, keeping your mouth shut and allowing people to manhandle you and do whatever they feel like doing, that we got to come out of that. We can't just keep our mouth shut and hope that, okay, maybe they'll leave me alone. I just feel like whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it. So I might as well enforce the Constitution while I'm in the process of doing anything. And if we look at our history, we see that has been the case. Many of us, we was quiet, got our ass kicked. Might as well speak up. What you going to speak and talk about? The Constitution. And that's what this whole broadcast was all about. This sister was very vocal. And I believe that she may have been on the way to learning the law, because I can tell by some of the things she was saying that she was grasping a little bit, but she hadn't been in it long enough to really embody it. And I believe that's what really frustrated her, as opposed to these modern Europeans that had the time and the wherewithal, to study that same Constitution and use it to repel these people. So the whole lesson is not that, these modern Europeans erroneously call white people are smarter and better than us. No, that's not the lesson. The lesson is this law is for everybody. We just need to learn the law that our ancestors wrote to protect us, which most of us don't know. Well, let me rephrase that. There was a time when I could say most of us don't know it, but that has changed drastically. There's just really a few that don't know it now.
And being what you know.
And that's all I can say is, you better catch up.
Most certainly. And can I add on real quick, as far as being what you know and control the situations? I had a flashback. This was like maybe 2012, maybe. It was a situation with a family member of mine. And, we were studying law or whatever. We went to make a special appearance in the flesh. Didn't really want to go, but didn't really want to risk, you know what I mean? So we went to make a special appearance in the flesh. The magistrate acted out, threatened that he was going to take on people to the county jail, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Now, when they was the bailiffs or the security guards, shall I say, the security guards in the meeting room tried to enclose on her and, act like they was going to process her. I know that these are all actors, and when you said this was all about fear, I saw what they was trying to do. They was just trying to put the fear in her. But I knew, because I was going over to, yo, don't touch her. And a policy enforcer went to put his hand up as if he was going to touch my chest. I said, don't touch me. And he put his hand back on his side. You know what I mean? And I basically just, in that particular moment, the energy was so real, he followed my verbal command and put his hands down. You know what I mean? So when I say how you go about a certain thing, you know what I mean? And to further go on, I knew the energy of the environment to the degree that I knew this was an act. Taj was there. I'm not fronting. I said, listen, we're not leaving because they just tried to find her contempt for challenging their authority. They're not going to take her to the county. They're going to bring her right back out here. I know that's what's going to happen. That's all I wanted to happen, and I kept invoking it. I wasn't looking for no outside source to make it happen. I'm like, this is about energy now. Don't you know? About 4 minutes later, they brought her back up with all of this rah-rah threat. Before we take you to the county jail, we want to know, do you have anything to say? She still stood on her position. It was like, okay, boom, bang the gavel, you can go now. So he went through this whole show of, I'm going to take you to the county. I knew this was a show. In my heart, I'm like, he can't be serious. This is too ridiculous. Because she challenged the jurisdiction, he took it personal like she was in contempt. And I'm like, yo, I know in his right mind, he knows he's wrong. There's no way he's about to take her to the county. He can't admit her on that. She can't be admitted on that. We was walking out of there 10 minutes later. You know what I mean? No county, no nothing. So what I'm saying is from what you invoke and the energy you put out in situations, that also makes a difference. I just want to let you know that's a true story, true fact.
Yes, yes.
And that's true walking in the faith, because faith, you can only have faith in what you know. And because faith is a precursor to manifestation. So that's what it really means about walking out on the faith. It's the faith of what you know. And that's what was demonstrated.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I can tell you from my own experience, and I have it recorded, 23 minutes, me going toe-to-toe with a magistrate. Now, I can only tell you that it was the right energy. I had done a lot of studying. And I know, I'm going to say this because I know a lot of people listening is probably in the same place. I know there's a lot of Moors there. They go and they're like, well, if they say this, what did you say? And they want that. If they say this, this is what you say. If they say that, this is what you say. And I know that feeling. And I was there. I think everybody goes there in their sojourn. Everybody goes. They want it's like a cheat sheet of what do you say if they say this, that, and the other. And I got to tell you, there is no such cheat sheet, really. There is none. And this is why I keep saying, look, y'all got to study, because when you study, something is going to open up inside of you, and you're going to comprehend the spirit of the law. And once you get to that place, there's not a question that they can ask you that you won't readily have an answer for, because the whole purpose of the Constitution is to protect all the unalienable liberties of the people. That's it, period. So if anybody is sitting in any seat alleging to be, quote, government, they are bound and obligated to protect you. And I know that sounds real simple, but the more you study and the more you get it inside of you, you will be able to just calmly stand there and listen to these people say whatever they want to say, and then you will know exactly what to say. Trust me, but you gotta. That's why we keep telling you, study, study, study. The prophet said study, study, study. And I say it all the time. It's the one thing he said and repeated 3 times. If you know the power of 3, you should know that that is an important key. Why would he say study 3 times? Because if you study, I'm telling you, something is going to open up inside of you like a floodgate. And that fear, trust me, we all felt the fear. I can tell you, first time I went into court, I felt like the scarecrow and the Tin Man. My knees were shaking. But I was determined to go through the fear, and whatever happened, I was going to do this. And I have to say that it is that determination. It's that determination to go through it regardless of what the outcome will be, that is going to free you. Because I'm telling you, once you get to the other side, you're going to be looking back and you're going to be saying to yourself, that wasn't hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't hard at all.
Sure.
And I can do better. I can do better. And the study hunt is going to be on. That's when, like, the doors fly open, fly right off the hinges, and it's like, okay, it's on. Not with you and anybody. It's on with you and your study. It's on.
Yep.
You got a tape. It's on.
I wanted to add on to something else, too. That same situation, same fam, went to the same building for another situation. We went to drop off a claim or rebuttal to an accusation, and the clerk was acting, catty or whatnot, not trying to file certain things or whatnot. So we're leaving the building. I'm like, yo, I can't believe, like, she really acted like this. This was a European. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe they did that. So we're leaving, like, all right, they really not trying to take this claim. Like, I don't understand it. We're leaving out the building. 2 policy enforcers come and flag us down in the parking lot. Start asking us questions about what happened, this, that, the third. Like, what? What happened? Why are you following this? He was like, do you have any ID on you? I said, do you have your oath to the Constitution on you?
That's
he was
right.
like, have a nice day. Straight up, he said, have a nice day. You know what I mean? And that was the end of that. Just like at that particular time, and I'm not saying there hasn't been bad experiences, but I'm just saying looking at the good ones, too, it's just about being what you know. That was spontaneous. I wouldn't have thought. It just was like, you asking me for paperwork. We right here where I know yours should be at. Where's it at? You know what I mean? We leaving this building. I'm pretty sure y'all are signed here. Just like you want to see ID, I want to see your oath to the Constitution. And it basically just ended the conversation. And he said, have a nice day. We was on our way. It was weird. But I say that to say that it's not just the Europeans who can enforce law. That's a myth. That's definitely a myth. That's definitely a myth. So, yeah.
All right, Joe. I know we went
What
like
makes
really
that so bad for? I just want to say this. You just said it is not just the Europeans who can invoke law. What makes that so bad? With the chat room brother or whatever's comment is like I had said earlier. Not knowing that we're the ones who the Constitution is written off of ancient divine principles of governing, and of law and order, and for us not to know that. That's what makes it so bad for us to think that only Europeans can do that. It's just a sign of how much we don't know and how much we need to find out Islam. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are you going to open the lines, or are we?
Yes, I'm going to take. I was just going to say that. And I said I know he's kind of long-winded, but.
No, this was a great build, I think. I mean, just go with the flow. It was really a great build.
Yes. All right, we're going to take our first caller 803-290. You're live on the air. Please state your affiliation at Northwest Alexa.
Tarsa Sandrorio. I'll just listen to the show right now. No. The cube just came on automatically. I don't know how it happened. I was just listening, though.
All righty. Peace and love to you.
Peace and love to y'all. Peace.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Caller. Hold on a minute. 832-910. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim.
Hello?
Islam.
Hey, I was actually, I didn't know I would get in that soon, but Is it any kind of way that y'all can put me back on? Like I say after the next 2 callers or something?
All righty.
If that's possible.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it. What I do, just press 1 again?
Well, once I mute you, press 1, and then when you're ready, press 1 again.
Okay, then.
Press 1 now. You'll come out of the queue. All right, caller 972-839-839. You're live on the air. Please state your information at Northwest Maxim.
Islam, family.
Islam.
Hear me? Islam.
Yes.
Once again, it's always a pleasure to hear the family. And y'all doing such a great job, and this topic is much needed because my people, as we know, some of us, and the majority of us do not know that we are destroyed daily, not only by the lack of knowledge, but by the ignorance that has been instituted in us for generation after generation. My mind came to me a thought. Jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is the science and the philosophy that treats positive law and the administration of the same. It is the study of the nuance and structure of the legal system and or their form as opposed to or distinguished from the content of the said legal or law system. Jurisprudence is more akin to analytical comparison of systems of law. The root of jurisprudence is derived from the old Moorish Latin word juris, meaning law, and prudentia, meaning knowledge. And we go to the Moabites, root in particular, to those who follow the biblio-heliotext. We know man know thyself. Womb man know thyself. Philosophy is a philology and a philosophy phrase which is ancient among the ancient ones. It has been repeated by many, yet the common natural people to whom that self-knowledge phrase has been presented has long suffered and sting of artificial instituted ignorance. This negative social status is due to a Roman-dominated power. Our sisters and our brothers who do not know law, who do not study, and those who have not had been in position to teach them the law, but have given their left hand over to the European occupational government, so-called, and have enlisted them to go out and seek and search the most brilliant minds and bring them under a European occupation to enlist them to go out and treat our Moorish kin and run them into a negative situation that it will cause their very life. That situation that happens daily, regardless of what part of Morocco, Morocco, North America that you live in, the same consequence is happening daily. Speak, my brothers, Ananias, Rosmaral, and Ms. Ram. Teach the people, as Noble Drew Ali states, and I repeated. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Ignorance is our number one. Fruitation of spirit that is not derived from who we are. I cannot give no birth. I'm a male. Come out of the stargate, out of the earth, represent the womb, the fallopian tube that I in and out of, the birth canal where I was born. And here I gave life for many and many years. And I have studied more science. More science was birth to me. And here I am today. And I thank Allah. And I give all praise to Noble Jew Ali for standing up and raising his voice up and putting his hand across his heart, carrying the woman. And when I hear Ananias and Rosalind, and I have in my mind that it's time to let the woman out of his arms. Islam. Peace.
Islam.
Islam. Peace. And yeah, definitely.
In other words, it's time for her to wake up, like I said, on that depiction that he's talking about on the front of the 101, where he's holding her up because she is unconscious. And it said the great meeting is on. It is on when she wakes up. And that's what the brother is reiterating here. This is why we, have sisters standing on law and do all of this. She has to wake up so that the beings, because the covenant, the Ark of the Covenant is the womb. What is a covenant but an agreement? What is the agreement but to bring the souls back in through the womb? That's the only way. And so she has to be conscious in order to, return humanity and redeem humanity. She does. She's the redeemer. We went through that before. And he is the chapter 2 son. So if you're following the works, read chapter 2, and we have to bring this thing back together. And that's what we're doing. Attempting? Well, no, not attempting. We're doing it because, Annie, you said earlier, what's coming because it's through the young and the yet unborn. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali knew that too. So that's where it's at. It's
Yes.
Just want to add on two things. As far as the jurisprudence goes, definitely check out R.V. Bay Publications jurisprudence page if you haven't. And there's information there about jurisprudence. But also as far as the woman, it still reminded me back of Sandra Bland. And that in the aspect, one of their biggest fears is the woman being awakened up. You know what I mean? So when they don't see that submissive obedience to Roman authority and this, that, the third, it represents failure for them. Just like for us to have knowledge, that also represents failure for them. But for them to not have obedience, like that just puts it on the square. Whereas, letting you know from the jump, we're not a slave, I'm not your slave, you're not going to just treat me any type of way. But I'm going to leave that there for now. I just wanted to add that on. That was a major operation of factor of the operation of suppressing the Moorish nation was through the Moorish woman, or Moabite woman, if you will. You know what I mean? So when they see that that's not working, they know the time is definitely is up. It's definitely up, or close to it. So I yield the floor with that. I just wanted to respectfully add that on.
All righty. All right. Caller 413-310. You're live on the air. Please state your affiliation at Northwest Maxim.
Hello?
Call Islam.
Islam. I didn't know I was going to be on. This is Waya Ani Yanwea G. Bay, Northwest Maxim, near the Springfield Corporation in Massachusetts Public Territory. had a few questions, family. Well, one of the situations, I kind of jumped the gun and didn't follow proper instructions on the national identification. Just wanted to get that straight, if we can handle that privately or off the air. But one question is on the affidavit of fact for the real discovery. I wanted to CC another Moor on the affidavit, just questioning how should I put that on paper? How should I alliterate that? Because I was wondering, should I put Morris National Republic as like the body politic, and then minister or nobleman, and then state the appellation of the brother? Just wanted to get some advice on that.
I don't know. Like, are they claiming any specific title?
No, they're not.
All right, so I don't know if I can add anything wise on. I would say acknowledge them how they acknowledge themselves.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't know who exactly you're trying to send to, but if you're going to, I would say the most respectful thing to do, whoever it is on this planet Earth, acknowledge them how they acknowledge themselves.
Yeah.
Unless they claiming, false titles like, if a European is claiming to be American, you're not gonna really honor that. But I'm just saying, when you're dealing on the level as you are, with personal information or whatnot, you however they acknowledge themselves, acknowledge them. I don't know. That's the best thing I could say. I'm pretty sure y'all have some wisdom to add on.
I appreciate that. Second question. My occupation is a driver, actually, for one of these corporations, and just wondering, I've just declared and proclaimed just recently in the last few weeks. Would it be proper, or would it be? I'm not sure how to even qualify the question. Would I be protecting my person if I would change the name to my appellation on the contract, on the driver's license contract, and back it with all rights reserved if I want to continue laboring with this company as a driver, as a commercial driver?
I would say, yeah, go ahead, Annie. Yeah, I would say no.
I would advise you to not change anything at this stage, because you don't know enough to defend it.
Right.
So you need
Understood.
to leave everything the way it is and take the time, minimum of a year, and study. And then you come up with a strategy, and you have a backup plan.
But when you say anything, you just mean change it. You don't mean that he ought not declare his nationality. I think when it comes to the fact that
your nationality, but when it comes to your job, it comes to your job, you don't want to change anything. You don't have enough information. If you go in there and they say, "Well, why are you making this change?" What are you going to say?
You don't even really know. You don't even really know.
You don't have enough. Right. So you want to take the time. It says if you do nothing, declare your nationality, meaning be clear for you.
That's a declare,
right?
Be clear
for you. You're the one that has to be clear. It says, that's why the prophet says, if you do nothing, declare your nationality. So he's telling you once again, go back, study, so that you are clear on what your nationality is, why it is, what it all entails. Of course, that also includes the study of the law. So, you want to be able to come up with a strategy based on the information you have gathered and learned.
Right, but also two things here. As you have said so many times before, that nom de guerre that many people like to call straw, but that nom de guerre is really a fiction, so it's not you anyway. Your absolute proper signature or autograph, which would be with your bay or ill on it, is really the authorized signature for whatever goes on that you trade with or whatever like that. So it's how you sign it.
Understood. Yeah, right. Because I understand going forward, as in my proper persona, if I was to ever, I guess going to court with any corporation in relations to my straw man, I understand I am the trustee of that straw man, and then I can go about practicing law, the constitutional law, with as a Moor in proper persona.
You're not the trustee of that nom de guerre. You're not the trustee of that. That means that that is more powerful than you. That is just some letters put together, and your use. Okay, here's the thing. Now, the man that started Walmart, his name was Sam Walton, but he did business in Walmart. He did business under the style of Walmart, but Walmart can't see. So who would be in charge of Walmart?
Understood.
Sam Walton would be in charge of Walmart. Sam is superior to Walmart. So Sam could never be the trustee of Walmart because Walmart is just a construct. It's a fiction. It doesn't even exist.
And there's a case law. Go ahead.
Well, see, and we need to. That's why. You see what I'm saying? This is why you need to study, because you don't want to say something that if you should get into a situation, you don't want to say something that's going to let whoever is questioning you know that you lack information. You see what I'm saying?
Right. It's your vulnerability, and they'll try to jump all on that.
You're right. You're there, open up a vein and never let go. All right. So that's why they are vampires. All right. So you want to make sure that you are absolutely crystal clear on who owns that, who created that. You have to know this. Every appellation is a part of our heritage because they all come out of the actual appellation or derivative of it. Those are all family appellations. So you don't want to throw it away because it is yours. It's a part of it's your intellectual property. It's part of our family, a part of our ancestral estate.
But you're not telling him to be that because he can't be that. Right.
No, it's like a piece of furniture. It's like a piece of furniture. It's a part of your ancestral estate. You don't want to throw that away.
And X-rail is what you do.
Right.
X-rail is what the prophet meant when he said don't do any new business.
Right. Go ahead with new business with the appellation.
People don't know how to navigate that, and that's what is being explained right now, because that old quote name is a fiction, always was, and so you're the authorized right, and So the lawful position you hold with it is called ex-rel whenever something does come up, meaning ex-relation, which really essentially means you have information regarding it, because you do, because you've been navigating with it for a while. You have all information regarding it, but it doesn't mean it's you. So and people think it means an ex-relation because I dropped it and I don't have it. It means that you have information regarding it. That's really what it means. And there's only 2 people on the planet that can even use ex-rel. And one is an attorney general, and it's clear why, because an attorney general speaks for corporations. That's why we have to be careful about calling ourselves attorneys and attorney generals. We do that. We went through this thing where, I now got my attorney general, my attorney general status. What? That has to do, right. That's not our terminology at all. So it's ex-rel. And then last thing I want to say to you, you said you, quote unquote, drive as a living. And so you of all people must be very clear of the difference, as what and he is saying, study and know that. For example, if you are traveling to go see your auntie, your uncle, your family, going to the grocery store, you don't have to show that instrument just like no one else does. Because why? Because it's for doing commerce. It's for doing commerce. And if you are employed doing commerce in that respect, then at those times you would have you might need to have it. But if you're not, then the licensed instrument is not meant for people who are traveling. So you would have to study and know the absolute difference more than the average bear.
Yes.
Okay,
all
right.
Last week was very informative on, I believe Sister Anita was speaking about how the motor vehicle or federal motor vehicle laws or what have you was when they say speaking about cars, they're actually speaking about railroad cars.
Yes,
I mean,
railroad cars. Yeah,
definitely trying to get more information on that, or actually the literature on that. But I have been studying on the proper terms and definitions on when I would be traveling and having guests in my vessel, in my land vessel, and me being navigating my land vessel.
Or cargo, and that's what you do. You carry cargo, so that would be what the instrument would be for, because you're carrying cargo and goods or like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
To be honest with you, you're not even. They're in. Just like you go to the stores and these corporations impose their tax obligation on you. They're imposing the so-called driver's license on you as well, because you're not supposed to be the one getting a driver's license. They're supposed to get that the corporation is supposed to get that, and everyone is supposed to be blanketed under it, just like the insurance.
And
that would be acting just as an agent, correct?
No, you wouldn't be acting like an agent at all. You'd be acting like a worker.
Okay.
Now you're exchanging your energy for compensation. That's not, see, whenever, when they go and generate sweat, that's income, that's not income.
Oh, no, I remember income is something about like something from what you gain from investments or what have you, correct?
Yeah,
to make it simple, income is what you receive minus any sweat. You're not working.
I think it's simple as saying it's profit from the investment, corporate investment, or capital investment.
You can say that, but I wouldn't say that either, because sometimes really that's not really true, because only corporations, because you can have like these 401ks that they're taxing people on. They're not supposed to be taxing the people because they are not a corporation involved in these huge, that they're not a corporation. They're individual persons. The dividends and everything that they're talking about a corporation with a board of directors and an executive body. These are the people who are obligated to pay taxes because they are a corporation. But people who got this little bit, and these people are funneling, millions of dollars into this thing. People, the average person, they're looking if they can get like $100,000 and significantly less to go and talk about their investing for their future, and they're going to tax them on that? That's not what that's supposed to be for.
But wouldn't that be saying the same thing? But that would be saying the same thing because if you knew who you were, you wouldn't be making any corporate investments like that as a Moor national. So it still would be and the reason I say that is when it comes to them income taxing you when you're working. See, when you have a job and you're getting wages, which is not income, how they treat you as a corporate person, as they look at you as a corporate person, you are whatever you didn't spend. Like if you didn't, that's why they have you list. How much did you spend for gas? How much did you spend for babysitting? How much did you food? How much did you spend for car? How much did you spend for clothes? And then once that is established, then whatever's left over, they tax it because they look at that as the profit from the corporate investment. But the thing is that they're looking at you, the person, as the corporation. Mm-hmm. And then they're calling that, and then they're calling that the income. And then when you go and you sign the W-2s and 4s and you admit that you're submitting for income tax, then you're agreeing, even though it's trickery and deceit, you're agreeing that what you just got paid at your job is income. And that's why, and that's what happens. So,
but those, and I just want to say that even though most people are compelled to sign those W-4s, they're not lawfully valid because they were never explained to you, and they will tell you, you have to go and consult an accountant, but an accountant is not versed in the law. He is only versed in accounting, so that still doesn't count. And most accountants never tell you the truth. Never. No. And some of them don't even know. So you're still not getting the necessary information to make an informed decision. And even and here's the thing: even if you went to a tax attorney, by the very name, they cannot tell you the truth. If they were to tell you the truth, they would be disbarred. Right.
I can understand that, yeah.
And then if you read Penrose versus Jones, it says that if it's now all of them are corporations, they had no parity with you as the natural person in that respect. And these places calling themselves governments, they're corporations. They're not government.
Right. I've looked at the Massachusetts Charter and other pseudo-government websites stating that they're actually that they're municipal corporations.
But before you hang up, what is your appellation real quick again? I know, but I just need to get his appellation. What is your appellation again, brother?
Waya Anianwia Shibe.
Okay, you contact rvbaynatcard@gmail.com about what you said about your nat card, okay? rvbaynatcard@gmail.com.
Will do. All right, thank you.
All right, peace and love. And we're going to continue this discussion next week. We're going to have it under